Thank you for joining us for the podcast. YouTube analytics show that we only have 5% of the people who watch our videos subscribing. If you could please like, share, and subscribe, it would mean the world to us. Thank you.
In a world where truth hides in the shadows, faith still shines through. Where the seen and unseen collide, when everyone else is of the world, we are the Not of This World podcast.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Not of This World podcast. Today is November 16th, and I'm Josh. We've got Steve here with
Hey guys,
me.
how you guys doing?
Got another exciting episode ahead for you guys. Actually, what do you have for us today, Steve?
Well, we haven't talked about end times at all since September, and we keep on seeing things in the news, and I feel like even the headlines that I'm following and seeing, like this is all end times. Like I don't see it anymore the same way. I just think it's happening at all times, and I think it's meant to drive us to be a little bit numb about it. So there was a Steve Ram video that just came out where he's talking about wars and rumors of war. And then we kind of went over some things in the Bible that I think we can show you where the world right now is. We're at end times. I think that's going to be an easy way to show you guys this. So, Josh,
Sorry, I was just going to say it's pretty evident. You've got people from all walks of life talking about it being the end times now.
it's true.
It's there, right? It has to be. We've got pastors talking about it. There's new age people talking about like some new dimension entering. Like there's all walks of life know that we are there. I don't know if we're there as in tomorrow or we're there as in the next decade, but we're there. We're definitely there.
They just announced. Sam Altman was talking about the owner of OpenAI was talking about those like gene editing baby pods. Have you seen that?
No.
So they basically like they're saying you can genetically enhance an embryo and have it inseminated with all the stuff that you want from your DNA, and basically genetically create a baby, have it born in a little pod without a mother, and you can raise your own kid with your genetics the way you want.
So
They're saying it could happen in the near future.
trying to be God, basically.
Right. I'm a big fan of
who's the only one that would try to be God when they're not?
man.
Well, I'm
Satan.
the devil.
Yeah,
But
100%. You have any Bible verses that would go well with this?
I do, actually. I've got two of them I'd like to read this morning. One, I think, is kind of the most famous verse when it comes to this, and that's Matthew 24:36. But about that day or hour, no one knows, not even the angels in heaven, nor the Son, but only the Father. As it was in the days of Noah, so it will be at the coming of the Son of Man. For in the days before the flood, people were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, up to the day Noah entered the ark. And they knew nothing about what would happen until the flood came and took them away. That is how it will be at the coming of the Son of Man. So that one, I think, is the one everyone usually refers to when we're talking about this stuff, and it is so relevant. Everywhere I go, I just envision like everyone's just eating and drinking and celebrating something that they shouldn't be celebrating all the time, and it's everywhere. And it's like you don't even realize what's coming. You're just so worried about getting drunk and having another party tonight. Like it's just anyways, next one. This one I think is really good for this. It's 2 Timothy 3:1-5. But mark this, there will be terrible times in the last days. People will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boastful, proud, abusive, disobedient to their parents, ungrateful, unholy, without love, unforgiving, slanderous, without self-control, brutal, not lovers of the good, treacherous, rash, conceited, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, having a form of godliness but denying its power. Have nothing to do with such people. That one, I have I think it's something we see in all walks of the world right now. But one little microcosm of it that I think of is I'm on a little sports app, right? Just talking Bears and Cubs. It's fun, takes my mind off things. But it's
Hmm.
become not fun because people are just so hateful now. Even just
Hmm.
trying to talk about the Bears, it's literally I've been on this for years, right? So I
Hmm.
used to see like, say for instance, when Justin Fields was a new quarterback for the Bears,
Hmm.
he would screw up, and people would be like, "All right, support the quarterback. He's young, give him
Hmm.
time." Right away with Caleb Williams from the start, it's like, "F this MRFer, cut him." He shouldn't even be allowed to walk in the world. Like, just insane things, like the things about the coach. People are literally just trying to argue with each other, just trying to hate each other rather than just talking about the team. Like, if you write a comment like, "Oh, I wish we could trade for this," "You're an effing idiot," blah blah blah, and it's like, wow, wow,
Yeah.
what is going on here? Why is everyone so hateful?
I totally agree with you, and I think the football analogy is great because I'm a Cardinals fan, and we've discussed this in past episodes, and it's I think that's even a culture thing. It's not even just about NFL. It's anything that
No,
you
yeah,
identify with, like it's a false identity, right?
yeah.
And the minute it makes you look bad, people are so quick to reject anything that doesn't make you look like spotless.
Mm-hmm.
The image of what you stand by, it has to be perfect because everyone in the world we live in today, we live in a digital world where everyone thinks what's happening online is just as important as what's happening in your real life.
That and the access to unlimited information makes everyone believe that it's them that is so smart. Like everyone else can't just Google whatever you Googled and got that information. So they automatically think they're right because
Right.
they got some piece of information from Chat GPT, and now they're
Yeah.
some genius. And it's sad to watch happening. Um, yeah, it's sad to see people turn so prideful and so hateful, and it's like, come on, this is not where your head needs to be. This is not who you were built to be. This is not who you were created to be. So
Yeah.
it's hard to
I've
watch.
listened to quite a few different people on for news information and just podcasts that I've listened to them enough talk about how when they meet people who are fans of the show, they meet them and they have a real disconnect between understanding that the person they're meeting for the first time doesn't know who they are, but
Hmm.
they have such a close connection to them, they almost feel like they're best friends. And they say it is the weirdest interaction to talk with these people because they don't quite understand that I don't know who you are, and we don't have any trust between us. But not that's only one end, and I can relate to that some a little bit because like as I was watching, we're talking about end times, right? I would start to watch some of these shows of like secular shows of news, and just along the last 2 or 3 years, they're like, I think there's like even Joe Rogan, right? Joe Rogan has recently said, I think Jesus might be the way. And Joe Rogan started going to church, and I've been telling you for like the last year, like, I think he's become a Christian. It's there. He just hasn't declared it publicly yet.
Well, I really hope he does.
Yeah.
That would be um, amazing for him. Number one, I would
Hmm.
love to see him and see from where he's come to being saved. But the amount of people he could bring to God would just be such an amazing resource for the kingdom.
Yeah. And I hope for our podcast or what we're doing right now, I want to break down that wall between us talking because there are people that are watching us. We don't have a huge audience yet, but we want to talk about stuff. So if like you think we're in the end times, post stuff in the comments. We will respond. If it's not hateful, we're gonna respond. We might just give a love symbol if it's a comment that like isn't needed to be talked about. But if you bring up like if you're don't believe we're in end times, like let's talk about it in the comment section. We want to hear and interact with all of you guys. So if that wall can be broken, we're real people. Like we want to have conversations with you guys.
Absolutely. And just an actual note on what you're saying, or a little sidebar there, but I've seen so many people write like, my whole life someone has said it's going to be the end times and we're in the end times and it's never happened yet, so it can't be now. And I feel like that's a lot of the thinking from people. It's almost like they've been burned by the thought of it in the past. But you can't think that way. Um,
All right.
the end times isn't just a week long thing. Like the end times really started, I believe, when Israel became a nation.
Yeah.
And so it's up to God how long he wants the end times to be. He did say a generation, which a generation, we don't know if he's talking about, biblically the 70 to 80 years. We don't know if he's talking about a baby that was born the day that Israel became a nation. That person might live to be 110, and maybe he's talking about that entire generation. We don't know. But just because it hasn't happened in the past, it doesn't mean it's not going to happen now, and it's not happening now. Because if it did happen in the past, we wouldn't be here to talk about it because it would have already happened. But it is written, it is coming, and there are a lot of prophecies that are being fulfilled right now, which I think we're going to get into some of those today. But yeah, with that said, do we want to go into the first video and get things started?
Let's rock and roll into that first video. Josh.
So a lot developing in the last 24 hours regarding concerns of World War III, and we're hearing an emergency draft has been initiated. Take a look at the latest headlines with me. I'm going to be covering all the details of what has been going on here. World War III fears spark emergency conscription for all 18-year-olds in Germany. Here's another one coming out. Report for duty. Every 18-year-old man called up for military tests, an emergency conscription measure announced in Germany amid World War III fears. It comes as major European players also ramp up conscription efforts. And everybody is asking the question, is there going to be a draft in the United States? If World War III erupts, these are the first U.S. citizens who would get drafted and go to battle. And let me know your thoughts. Do you think that we're going to need a draft here in the United States? Let me know your thoughts. We're hearing that this is being initiated right now in an emergency effort to keep up with potential World War III coming, is what we're hearing. And take a look at this. Warnings coming out to the United States and to the world here. Putin's Russia is preparing for a big war soon, Ukraine warns. And what they're saying is, let me know your thoughts on this. They are saying that they believe that Putin is ready to escalate to a major war, but he is waiting essentially for Donald Trump to get out of office. And that in the year 2029 or the year 2030, there is going to be a major war and that our adversaries will go all out. Do you think that's a possibility? If you think so, put yes. If you think no, put no. Let me know your thoughts. But we'd even heard this warning coming out from the FBI for quite some time with China and Taiwan. China, they said, has prepared to attack Taiwan by the year 2027, which now is only about 1 year away. And they're saying, but the Trump effect might hold them off. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. But let's take a look at some more headlines here. As you can see, in addition to those warnings coming out, the Putin ally, he has issued just in the last 24 hours a nuclear warning to the United States. Yet again, we're getting all these nuclear warnings coming out from Russia. They're posturing against the United States. They say Russia will respond if the United States begins nuclear testing. In addition to that, speaking of China, we are hearing in the last 24 hours, China threatens Japan with a military attack as World War III fears spiral out of control. Left and right, we are hearing that there are threats and controversy around the world. World on the brink after China threatens to attack Japan as World War III fears explode. Some more tensions arising. And take a look at this. It's being confirmed. China's Area 51 satellite images spark World War III fears as China is brewing, and it is not Tsingtao. And also take a look. Russia vows to fully act as the U.S. sends warships to Venezuela, sparking new World War III fears. So many players getting in.
All right, that's it for the day for the video part of it.
So before we go into the seriousness of it, listening to those headlines, he said, whatever, China, something brewing, and it's not Tsingtao. That made me laugh. When we were in Hong Kong, that was the beer we were all drinking, Tsingtao, back in the day.
Yeah.
So that's, a little inside joke. If you've never been to China, you wouldn't know that joke. But yeah.
I feel like this is Wars and rumors of war, right?
Hmm.
And I touched on this a few episodes back, and I mentioned it before, but like I really think COVID was like a plan by the devil to get us all wanting information and to go anywhere but the Bible to look for it. Meaning that like we all search for information about COVID, and like we've come out of it going separate directions as humans because we don't trust each other anymore. We trust the information we're gathering online because it's not even the media, because we all don't trust the media anymore. It's all these insiders bringing us information that we're not getting from national media. So like Steve
I would
Ram
agree
is his
that
own.
that's part of what the plan and what came from it. I think it had more to do with testing who is going to willingly submit to control or not, and who they have to keep their eyes on when bigger things come, like forced digital ID and digital currency and all that stuff, to have an idea of who's actually going to be resistant and how easy. So like what percentage of the population will easily submit, what percentage of the population might actually fight back, and then they had to have data and a game plan when it comes time for that stuff. Um, I mean, the mark of the beast is another name for what we're talking about here. So,
Yeah. Well,
but
if you go over end times and you start looking at everything, as you start to dive into the Bible, you'll start to see these prophecies being said that will happen in the future that will mean you're in the end times. And my wife and I were having this conversation a while back, and I said, I think we could be in the end times. And she's like, I don't know. She's like, there's so many things that still need to be fulfilled. Like, I don't see it yet. And like ever since we've had that conversation, it feels like the list that we're creating, the 10 things to talk about, is increasing global travel. In Daniel 12:4, it basically just says everyone's going to start to be able to travel. And 2004 was like the highest year ever for travel, for global travel, ever of all time.
2004 or 20?
2000, I'm sorry, 2024.
Oh, okay, yeah,
My bad. With over 4.6 billion airline passengers flew in 2024.
yeah. I mean, travel is insane. If you went to the airport 15 years ago, it was like, well, I guess, excuse me, prior to 9/11, because things got hectic with all the security measures after 9/11. But prior to 9/11, it was so easy to travel, so easy to go to the airport. Now, when you go, even when you're like, okay, it's a Tuesday, shouldn't be too busy, and you're like, oh my gosh, why is the airport so busy? It's just nonstop travel.
I think it's to double down your point though, is we think of travel so differently now than you would if you lived 2,000 years ago. Like if you
Hmm.
traveled back then, you'd want to make sure you know where you're going to get your water at. You got a source of food. How are you going to trade your goods? How are you going to keep everyone safe? Where are you going to stay? Because if you don't know where you're going, if they don't accept you as a person, like we travel now and like you fly anywhere, we'll stay at a hotel. I know there'll be food. I know I'll have
Hmm.
water. We don't have to worry about any of those things. So when the Bible's saying people are just going to be traveling all over the place, they don't have nothing to worry about. How can you deny that? We're living in that time.
Yeah. And back to the video, I think rumors of war, like you said, wars and rumors of war. There are wars, but it is non-stop rumors of war right now.
Yeah.
That video alone, I mean, he talked about World War III, Germany preparing for it, US preparing for it, Russia threatening it, China threatening to attack Japan, China threatening to attack
Taiwan.
Taiwan. And then if you go, that didn't even cover the Middle East.
Yeah.
If you listen to Watchman River, he is really good at covering the Middle East stuff, and I think he uses Baba News
Hmm.
a lot. And it's nonstop stuff in the Middle East. And when they're supposed to be, this Abraham Accord and bringing peace, but yet every single day it's a rumor of, Hezbollah this and Iran that, and it is worldwide nonstop rumors of war right now.
Yeah. Amir Safani is another one that I check out. I don't know if you knew who that is.
Not off the top of my
He
head, no.
he lives in Israel, but he reports on it. Watch him on Telegram. Bubba News does almost the same exact thing. Um, he was just saying that like Israel's basically stuck between a rock and a hard place right now because they don't want to what happened to them on October 7th to happen again, and they keep on being told they need to form a two-state solution. So like it'd be the same as us having 9/11 happened in New York, and then to settle things, they're like, okay, we'll just give the people that bombed us some land in our country, and we can live peacefully. They're like, how is that an option?
Yeah.
I mean, we live in such weird times now that they just had a mayor who will not support what they're saying. They said if he said when he gets elected, if BB comes into New York next year for any kind of civil UN meetings, he will have him arrested on the spot. He will not be allowed in New York.
Yeah. Good luck with that, number one. But just the fact that he's able to even threaten that is insane.
It's it's yeah, it's not good.
One of the things that Watchman River, however you, oh, I can't remember how it is, but he said that Iran says they are upping their missile production. They want to be able to shoot 2,000 missiles simultaneously to overwhelm the
Iron
security
Dome.
dome in Israel.
Hmm.
But just the fact that that's being announced, like that's in the news, they want to overwhelm their system, and they're not even at war.
Yeah.
Imagine if we were just like, yeah, you know what, Mexico, we want to overwhelm your system, and we're not even at war with them, and we're just like saying we're going to create so many missiles and we're going to attack you.
Yeah.
Talk
Have,
about rumor of war. Like,
have you
come
seen
on.
the riots that are going on in Mexico?
No, I didn't hear about this.
So the younger generation's revolting against the communist person that just got elected.
Okay.
There's, I mean, maybe I'll find video of it and add it to it, but they are literally all these young kids are going to like attack like the presidential building and protest everything that's going on right now because they basically put a communist in right now, and it's just they're seeing how their lives are being taken from them and how they just basically pander to the cartels, and so these young people are finally revolting and saying they can't do it anymore.
Good for them.
Oh.
Sounds
Well,
I
like
didn't realize Mexico was on the 2030 global agenda of making everyone go to this communist.
that happening everywhere. Like Canada is going through
Yeah,
their own thing right
Canada's.
now.
Yeah.
I have people I know from Canada, and they're just like they're Trump supporters, and they went back to go visit in Canada, and they because they're known Trump supporters, their friends and family they were not treated very well when they went there at all, just because of it. Not like talking to somebody, getting to know their viewpoints. They're just literally like, I hate you now. They're like, it's so weird to like have people just, nope, can't support you anymore. You got to be canceled.
I mean, you know my political views. I've always been very kind of middle of the road. I'm a little
Hmm.
more like fiscally conservative, but I'm also pretty liberal in certain areas in my mind. But the way it's gone, like how are people being brainwashed into believing communism is a good idea?
I don't know.
It's
Having to pick a
crazy.
side on all of it is also very um, wrong in my opinion. Like just because, like you just said, I think everyone has a middle ground of all of it.
Used to.
Yeah, but I feel like we're being forced to have an opinion now. Like you either had to pick a side.
Yeah,
You can't just if you pick it, then you're automatically associated with all the things that are negative on each side.
yeah, that was part of their plan.
Right.
And it's crazy to me because I refuse to ever say I'm just one thing. I like to use my mind. I want to hear the information from both sides and make a determination on who seems better for where we're currently at and where our country's going. But now it's gotten such a strong divide that they don't have room for any middle ground. It's crazy.
Yeah. In Daniel 12:4, it talks about the knowledge shall increase. And right now, the international information overload, we get 328.77 million terabytes of new information is created every single day.
How many was
That's
that?
328.77 million terabytes
Million terabytes.
is of new
Wow.
information is produced every single day. And like AI is with learning about medical stuff. It's projected that our medical information every 73 days is doubling in how much information we're getting about medical treatments with AI.
I mean,
Smartphones in everyone's
there's
pockets.
good, some good stuff to that, but in general, that's insane. That is just information overload for everyone, just nonstop. I was actually you remade our video with our testimonies, and I was watching it and listening to my own about how I was having trouble with my phone and being addicted to the information and all that stuff, and having listening to that book that basically told me to stay off of all of it. And it was just a reminder, like, what am I doing? I'm getting caught up in all this information again, and I need to put it down. Like, this phone, this what they've created is just beyond addictive, because our
Yeah.
minds crave information, because by nature we were created to want to learn and improve. And it's, you get so addicted to just wanting more and more and more. But
Amen, brother. I take the opportunity to try and help anyone that I can that needs help currently in my life. And there's a guy that reached out to me, and he's having issues with his. I'm talking about the information stuff and having access to everything in your phone.
mhm.
Um, he reached out and said that he's having troubles with his wife, and I said, "So what's the problem?" And he says, "I'm having problems at home in our bedroom." And I said, "Okay," and it's what's happening. And he said he's basically addicted to corn, and he can't be excited around his wife anymore. And he wanted help figuring out what to do. And of course, he wants the worldview of what me to tell him, if I like to give him information to try and help fix his marriage. But I told him he needs to go start reading the Bible and trying to bring God into it. And he's just like, I came to you because I thought, you could help me. And I don't want that. I don't want the word of the God to like try and help me fix this. And I'm like, but you need to rewire your brain. And you have this false God in your life where it's a phone. And I said, look at your phone. It's going to tell you every single thing in your life that you need to change and reject. So if you're running to corn, however, I don't know what YouTube allows us to say anymore, or if you're running to this news information that makes you feel informed, just all the information that's being passed on right now, it has to be from the devil.
It 100% is.
Yeah.
And that's man, his heart and his mind are hardened to
Yeah.
to ask someone for help, and they give you the ultimate help, and you refuse to want to hear their help.
But you just said in when you were talking about the different like countries taking on communism and how you think it's crazy. If you fast forward into talking about end times, Revelation 13:16 through 17, it talks about no buying or selling without the mark. Like when we talk about how you couldn't see this happening the way you're talking about communism, I couldn't see a way of this happening with not buying or selling without a mark 10 years ago. And
For sure.
now with facial recognition, like you can do anything with your face. You use your hand, you can use your hand, your thumbprint. So those two things right there, you're like, oh, okay, you know?
Combining that with what you said about was it Sam Altman about these little baby incubator
Mm-hmm.
things?
Yeah.
That combined with what you're saying is what to me leads to the mark, because I believe the mark will have something, some way of altering our DNA, of
Yeah.
making us not 100% human, and that's why it'll be unforgivable. Maybe I'm wrong, but to me that is what makes sense.
Well, I think just my perspective is if you're born in that nature where it's not a man and a woman creating it, you have a soul when you're born that way through God. I believe you'll be the first humans born without a soul. And at first, you'll be like, we'll be in awe of them because they'll be so genetically gifted. But when they start to get older, if we're around for all of it, you're going to start to see these people don't have souls and they will do whatever, like a sociopath, basically.
Or will they um, basically be vessels for demons to inhabit?
I mean, that's a really good point. If you can't even access God because you don't have the ability of it,
It's
which adds
interesting.
into like the Revelation 13:18, the number 666, the mark, the mark of the beast. Um, it would make sense if it's just a facial recognition or your hand, because then you wouldn't be able to just walk up and see who is part of the beast system or not. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if you didn't know who to trust, that's really tough. If you're trying to like convert other people to being a Christian, even in the end times, they're like, you get ratted out. Oh, he's a Christian. They come to your house and just behead you,
Yeah.
or
Did you
turn against God and take the beast system.
did I ever send you that video? It was a guy talking about the 666, how that was John's vision in heaven, right?
Hmm.
Where that came from, that information came from in Revelation. But he was showing this mark that is a Muslim symbol that could look like 666. And so
Yeah.
maybe John actually saw this symbol and took it as 666, but it's going to be this Muslim mark. I don't know.
Did we not add that to the video? I remember
What's that?
seeing it. I thought we put it in one of our videos, but am I wrong?
We might have used like a clip it, like a snippet of it. I don't think we actually watched the full
If I can
thing.
go back, I'll add it to this video since we're not doing too many videos today. I'll see if I can add it, but it was very.
Christians are waiting for the return of Christ. Jews are waiting for the coming of Messiah. Muslims are waiting for the coming of Al-Mahdi. This is what many Christians don't know. In Israel right now, there are many who actually believe the Messiah has come. The Messiah who we call Jesus, they believe he's already come. The Muslims are waiting for the Al-Mahdi. The Al-Mahdi is their Messiah. He's their last Imam. Muhammad was quoted as saying, his name will be my name, and his father's name, my father's name. In other words, Muhammad believed that the last Imam that's going to come into the earth and do all these amazing things, their Messiah is going to be called Muhammad. That's what they believe. Stay there, go back, look at this. So look at this. The Mahdi is of my lineage, with a high forehead and a long, thin, curved nose. He will fill the earth with fairness and justice, as it was filled with oppression and injustice, and he will rule the world for 7 years. Hello? This is where I began to think, what if our Antichrist is their Mahdi? So they believe we messed up because they believe that Jesus wasn't crucified for the sins of the world. They believe Allah took Jesus to heaven and made it appear like he was crucified. Allah's apostle said, the hour will not be established until the Son of Mary descends, that's Jesus, among you as a just ruler. He'll break the cross, kill the pigs, that's you and I and the Jews, abolish jizya tax, money will be in abundance so that nobody will accept it as charitable gifts. Let's look at the Bible. Next slide, look at this. Daniel 8:25, and through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. Just think about this. Now they're waiting for an Al-Mahdi who's going to bring 7 years of peace on the earth. And Daniel 8:25 prophesies that somebody is coming who is going to declare peace upon the earth, but through peace, he's going to cause destruction. For there shall be false Christs and false messiahs who shall deceive the many and if possible deceive the elect. This is the signs of Matthew 24 of the coming of Christ, right? Next verse. Wherefore, look at this. Wherefore, if they shall say unto you, behold, he is in desert. He's telling us where this Antichrist is going to come from. If he says, I'm in the desert, he says, don't go. And if they say he's in the secret chambers, believe it not. Next slide, look at this. The word desert is eremos. It means to the east or south of Palestine. What's east or south of Palestine? Let's look what's east or south of Palestine. Mecca. Mecca, south of Palestine in Saudi Arabia. This whole war, by the way, one reason, Israel and Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia will be a gate for darkness and the gospel to the Muslim world. I'm telling you what I know. When that peace treaty was about to be signed between Saudi Arabia and Israel, that's when this war broke out. There's the number of a man and the number is 666. It's not 666. That's a translation. That's the number. How many can see it? Can you see it? The cross swords. Bismillah, which means in the name of Allah. And by the way, when you go to jihad, you wear this on your forehead. This is what he saw. It was Aramaic. The Bible's written in Aramaic, not English. So you look and we go, 666. No, that's what he saw. X, Aleph, S. Look at it again, next slide. There we go. Can you see it now? Bismillah. That's what he saw. The name of the beast. Bismillah. In the name of Allah. If that doesn't shock you, I don't know what will. Oh my Lord. When I saw that symbol, I was like, dear God. See where they're wearing it? On their foreheads. Now what about that no man might buy nor sell? In Isaiah 14, the Bible says, how wilt thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? That's Isaiah 14 verse 12. Lucifer is actually not his name. Lucifer is a translation of his name. Because all the angels have El in their name. They have God. Michael, Gabriel. Who is Lucifer? Lucifer is a translation. If you check the Hebrew, check it when you go home, Bible.cc. His name is Hallel, which Aramaic is halal. If you look at slide 244, you'll see what's on most of your food products today. Whatever this spirit is going to own the food chain. And none of you are going to be able to buy or sell unless you got the mark, the name, or the number of the beast.
Well, even we're talking about the different countries and what's happening right now. If you look at like what's happening in England right now, and they've introduced all these communist viewpoints, and it's all fueled by Muslims taking over. And we're seeing right now they're being taken over. And that Matthew 24:4 through 5, just many will be deceived, and just this new movement of people just accepting it and like going with it, and like they basically giving up their freedoms. It's just, I don't know. I feel like there's so many things happening, and if you bring it up, people are like, whatever, it doesn't affect me in America. But I feel like we're really on this doorstep of like seeing where it's really going to get. England like doesn't have any churches anymore, hardly.
Really?
Like compared to what they I mean, they used to be a religious country, and America's following suit, where we're losing people. We're also having a people coming back, but like we've lost so many people that used to be religious, and the way we operated. When I was a kid, you could go walk down the street and you're doing something stupid, and a stranger would walk up to you and be like, "Hey, knucklehead, knock it off," and you'd be like, "Oh, it's an older person," and you wouldn't want to listen to them, but you'd be like, oh, "Okay, I what they're saying is right. I won't do it anymore." Try and do that today with a kid. They're gonna be like, "Screw you, man. Who are you?"
And that goes back to the whole days of Noah. People are eating and drinking and marrying, and that's what I feel like people have become so obsessed with their lives. Life has gotten easy, even though it's hard in a lot of ways. Rising costs, rents are higher, things like that. But in general, life is easy, and that leads to laziness and boredom, which leads to finding ways to fill that time. I think that's part of why God talks about working hard in the Bible, that we were meant to work, because it keeps our mind on the things that we are meant to be doing, what we are created for. And so with that boredom and that laziness, you start to fill your time, and that's where people go in the directions of non-godly things, of more drinking and more eating. And it just seems people are so oblivious to what's going on right now, it feels like. And they don't care. Just whatever, like what I need God for.
Yeah, my brain works a little bit different than some people's, I think. And I start to correlate things that happen, like the devil's plan, and what can I see other people in the world using the same kind of tactics. So the Muslim religion, right? They hit us on 9/11, right? And we went over there with all our best technology, our best fighters, and literally they were outmatched. There's nothing they can do. So they just play this long game of attacking here and there and acting like they're not a threat, but still killing people here and there. And they just went in underground and were like, okay, we got to play a longer game. We got to get into their countries and change their laws. Now, who else has done that? The devil. And how did he do that? Like when we were growing up, I just mentioned there were older people who would step in and say, no, this isn't right. Where we were being conditioned by the devil to start to say, it's okay to have your own religion, but don't push your religion on me. And it affected me in a way where, like, when I was working all the time, I would be at work and I would always think of secular ways to help people without bringing up God. So
Okay.
it'd always be like self-help, this different ways of approaching it as opposed to being like you need God in your life. But I think of different ways to tell people that without talking about God, because sometimes that's the only answer. They
Yeah.
made me believe that I was wrong for talking about God in public.
And that's pretty common.
Yeah,
That's really
it's
common.
it's
And
supposed to be unprofessional, is how I viewed it.
yeah, the devil set things up over a long period of time, and he's done it so well. He really has. Like the devil is very, 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 very smart. So much smarter than any human. And the way he has set it up is he's infiltrated every part of our society to the point, like you said, where it's unacceptable to talk about God because it's unprofessional. Like, are you kidding me? The entire Old Testament of the Bible was God was in their society in every aspect.
Yeah.
And we got away from that.
Well, in Revelation 24, 24, it beheaded for your faith. That they talk about being beheaded for your faith, which we think is going to happen in the future, but it's happening right now in Africa. Christians are being beheaded for their faith right now as we speak. In China, you can't even be a Christian.
Yeah.
Um,
People are being persecuted worldwide.
and in the West, it's getting worse. Where like it is the we've mentioned if you bring up God or Christ to somebody now, there is a weight to it. Where there's going to be people who are drawn to you, and there's people who are going to hate you automatically for just bringing up the name Jesus.
That's our persecution. So worldwide, there's people being physically persecuted, being killed or imprisoned, and things like that. Our persecution here in the U.S. is that looked down upon, where to
Yeah.
the point where people don't want to talk about God anymore because it makes them feel bad constantly getting um, berated, I guess. And it's a different kind of persecution, but we're definitely being persecuted in the U.S. right now
100%.
and in England. I think they have it very similar, but I think even a little further along there, they have it a little worse than the U.S. does when it comes to that right now.
Yeah. I don't face it every day. We still live in a country that we still get our freedoms that I think the people who have their eyes opened are saying we're going to lose all this if we don't start doing something now. But it feels very like an uphill battle. Like
Definitely.
not sure where to start. I think even us starting this podcast was our attempt to try and make a difference in the world right now.
Yeah. And I think what we're seeing right now is also another end time prophecy, but we're starting to see the separation of the wheat.
Yeah.
And we are seeing a revival in a way. Like we're seeing a comeback for a lot of people who haven't been walking with God for a while. They've been believers or whatever, but they're really starting to make a comeback. And there's more believers coming, but there's also the other side's going further from it.
Yeah.
So that separation is really starting to get clear and clearer. And I think that is another sign that we are in the end times.
Yeah, another end time sign is from Revelation 11, 7 through 10, where it talks every tribe, every people, every language you'll be able to see an event happen worldwide. You and I were talking about our videos are being transcribed into different languages through YouTube. Like we're not even like volunteering to do it. It's just taking our videos and translating our videos to a bunch of different languages. And so our videos are being watched all over the world, which is amazing, right? But also at the same hand, like it shows that we will have an event in the near future. I think it's the two witnesses, they'll be able to
Hmm.
see the two witnesses, everything happen live. And that's what it's describing. And we've never lived in a time where you could have almost every single person in the world see something with Starlink. You have internet anywhere now.
As far as 30-ish years ago, people could never have even fathomed how that verse would make sense about the two witnesses and how
Right.
everyone worldwide could view it at the same time. That verse did not make sense for 2,000 years. almost 2,000 years. And now all of a sudden it's come into clarity.
Well, even to Matthew 24:14, then the end will come, basically talking about how once the gospel spread all over the world, that was one that my wife and I kind of debated whether that could be happening right now. She'd
Mm-hmm.
say, I don't think we've gotten even close to having everyone, this gospel spread to everybody. And I'm like, I disagree. I think it's in the world we live in and how cynical people are. When you hear Jesus's redemption plan for you, we are so conditioned to say, okay, well, what is it going to take to become this Christian? You just have to say, I believe it and I accept it fully and mean it. It sounds too good to be true.
I believe it's been spread to almost everywhere. I mean, in the 1990s, maybe early 2000s, I saw a video of a guy who went to, you know how there's those few like random tribes worldwide who have
Mm-hmm.
still never been
Yeah.
introduced to modern society. And he tried going into one of them. I want to say it was somewhere in Brazil. I could be wrong on where it was, but he never came out.
Yeah.
But if 20 years ago we're getting to the point of trying to get to those groups, that means it's pretty much has spread worldwide. And just with the availability of internet and everything, people have access to it. People have the ability to see a video on YouTube or just to see a website talking about God. I always had a little conspiracy theory in my mind that I made up. Um, don't know if there's any truth to it whatsoever. Not necessarily conspiracy, but I always wondered, how there's all the rumors about Antarctica, how there's
Mm-hmm.
stuff they're hiding there. I always wondered if there was a civilization there that they're hiding from us and don't want anyone to know because that can hold back the ability to spread the gospel to everyone in the world
Yeah.
because there's potentially a society there that isn't able to be accessed.
That sounds like a episode of the Y Files. You ever watch the
Oh,
Y Files?
no.
That's a good. You'd like it. It's mostly for fun, but he does touch on things like that. But it's yeah, that's a really interesting idea. I've also heard things that they have Nephilim hidden down there. Like
I've heard
there's
that.
a they have giants hidden down there that they're not showing to the world. That's why no one else is allowed to go there. And the military guys have talked about it, and they said that they're how huge they are, and yeah, it's fun. And when you go down those rabbit holes, I mean, we talked about aliens recently and how they could just be demons. All those things are on the table for me now. Where I even just 10 years ago, I would have been like, no, no way. I'm not even open to it. And now I'm like, maybe.
I think that was another thing that came out of COVID is I don't even, are we allowed to say that word? It came out
Yeah,
of
I
that.
think we are now.
Okay.
I think that one's allowed now.
So I think so much misinformation was spread during that time. And the fact that people can view our government and think they did something nefarious against us,
Mm-hmm.
that shook the foundation of trust in our entire world.
Yeah.
And so now from there, it opens your mind to anything could be real.
Yeah.
Like, who knows what we're looking at that's real or not? And that to me is why the word of God is so important. The Bible is truth. And no matter what else is going on around us in the world, it might be true, it might not be true, but it's not something to really truly worry about because we know the word of God is true. And if we can focus on that, we're going to be okay.
Amen.
Do we
Yeah,
have
I was.
another video to
We
watch?
don't have another video today.
Oh, we don't. Oh, okay, cool.
Nope.
I thought we were waiting
That's
on doing another video.
that's the only video. I thought we'd just talk about end times and get
Okay.
back into it a little bit for all the people who were with us in the beginning because it was such an exciting time with the September 23rd and 24th dates popping up. There was so much happening that when we were done, we didn't want to make it an end times podcast, so we skipped past it. But there's probably some therapy that needs to happen for people to talk about a little bit. And I'm hoping that the people that maybe tuned out of us because we weren't doing end times will come back and realize that, like, for me, in 2024, I experienced this and where I thought he was coming back, but it was really small. Like no one was really talking about it. River Watchman was one of my people that I listened to every day. Um, Generation 2434, or Tyler from Generation 24, I think that's his name. He was one of the people talking about it. So I had people I was listening to, but I could talk to you a little bit.
Hmm.
But after the day passed, for me, I tried to pray about it, and I was disappointed because I wanted to see Jesus come back. But I also took the time to realize that like God's can change his mind at any time. If he knew that he could save 10 more people in this world, he's like, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna keep on waiting until I get every single person, because that's what Jesus does. He goes after the lost sheep. He'll leave the 99 to go get the one. That's how amazing our God is. So, as this day passed for you, how did you feel on the days following of September 23rd and 24th this last year?
I didn't really feel any different.
Yeah.
Even leading up to that, I was kind of just like, well, it could happen. There has been a lot of signs. All of these, numbers add up. All of this stuff adds up. It potentially could happen. Um, I even had that dream. I had some, signs with 444 and things like that I thought were leading to it. But I also didn't. I wasn't like set on it, setting myself up to be disappointed because I do believe that, Jesus said, no man knows the day or hour. And there was that twist with that
Hmm.
potentially meaning the Feast of Trumpets, but I didn't want to fall too much into it. So when it didn't happen, I was like, okay, yeah, that no man knows the day or hour. I guess there was not a connection with the idiom there of being the Feast of Trumpets. I still believe we're in the end days. It could happen today. I've said this a million times. It could happen today. It could happen in 2 years. It can happen in 10 years. I don't know. But I will keep looking up. I think that is, we are commanded to be looking for it and to be aware of the signs, to be ready, to make sure we have oil in our lamps, and to be prepared. I had a dream 2 nights ago that was a random one. I texted you about it briefly, but I don't remember much of the dream. It was just one of those dreams where it had a weird feeling. That's all I remember. And then I was in this place, and all these kids were singing Exodus, the song, the Bob Marley song, Exodus, but they were just singing it, and it like made me think for a second, and I like started to jolt awake, and as I jolted awake, I just had the number 1122 flash in front of my mind, in front of my eyes, and I was like, what was that? What was that about? I still have no idea. The only thing I could think to do is I opened my Bible to page 1122, and it was Hosea, and it was talking about Zerubbabel and Joshua um, being commanded to build the temple. So the only thing, I mean, if there was any sign in that dream, it wasn't just me having a weird dream. I wonder if the temple is going to start being built soon.
I think it is. I think it will. We'll see it in the near future.
I
Um,
almost wonder if Iran shoots 2,000 missiles at Jerusalem, like they're talking about building up for it, if they inadvertently blow up the dome of the rock, and that's what gives Jerusalem, like it God turns what Iran's trying to do for the bad, turns it to the good, and that
yeah,
allows them the ability to rebuild the third temple.
I've heard that theory before too. It's
Oh, really?
yeah, I have. I've also heard that Israel will let it happen, so that way it's a big like scandal. Not on Israel's behalf. It will be what it is because Iran did it, and then they will be able to do the same thing. I forgot where I've heard that from, but I've heard it too, and I was like, that makes sense. God does work in mysterious ways. The last
Hmm.
point I was trying to make with you, of the things I had mentioned, was, and I always say this name wrong in the Bible. It's Second Thessalonians.
Thessalonians.
There we go. That's the one. I always have like a tongue twister for me. Um, 2 and 3, 2 verse 3, and it's the basically the apostasy, the great falling away must come first. And I was talking about the devil's long game about how he does things, and I don't think it's any more transparent when you see some of these protests happening in the United States, where it's a group of the left protesting for like Palestine.
Okay.
And you're starting to see these American kids start to go with the Muslim religion, and they'll be sitting down and pray with them in New York City. And while as Americans, I believe you should have the right to do whatever you want. there's a difference between what I'm seeing happen and but the great falling away means how are, just because we're not seeing people come to Christianity is the problem. And if they're going to this other god who's a false god, we shared in that in the last video that we made about how this religion's built from the devil. And we're pissing people off online right now saying that stuff, but I think we have to say it. If we really believe in our faith, it's from the devil. There's no other way to see it. And so when you start to see these people falling into these agendas where like once they become in control, the people that are helping them right now, they're useful idiots. And basically, if you're a gay person saying, I'm supporting this group because it falls in my ideology, once they get in control, they're just going to behead you. They're going to kill you and be like, you idiots. You did all our work for us. Thank you. You're done.
Well, I think that goes right back to what we were saying earlier. I think the separation is happening.
Yeah.
The names are written in the book of life, and hopefully some more names still get written before it's all said and done, and I believe they will up until the last minute. Um, but we're seeing the separation, Steve. There's a hardening. There's a hardening of hearts. There's a hardening of minds. I'm going to go back and I'm going to read that Bible verse again really quick. 2 Timothy 3:1-5. We are seeing all of these. But mark this, there will be terrible times in the last days. People will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boastful, proud, abusive, disobedient to their parents, ungrateful, unholy, without love, unforgiving, slanderous, without self-control, brutal, not lovers of the good, treacherous, rash, conceited, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God. I'm not going to finish the rest, but that explains what our society is right now.
Yeah.
And I imagine it's only going to get worse. There's only going to be um, more of all of that, more self-love, more love of pleasure. We've seen it just grow out of control just in the last decade to 20 years. It's all began with the invent of the internet and the mainstream of internet, the spreading of all of it just at hand, the click of corn, just being able to hold it in your hand and have that ability to just play a video like that. The downfall of television shows that we watch, just how perverse they've all become. The way our politicians deal with each other and talk to each other and give interviews to the news, it's disgusting. Just every aspect of our society has grown to be exactly that. And if we are not in the end days, then something massive is going to have to happen for God to completely turn this world around, because it cannot keep going the way it is.
Yeah.
God will
I'm,
not allow it. And that's why, if you read the Bible and you read scripture, you'll know that all of these things line up. It is the end days. We are in the end days.
yeah. People will be lovers of themselves because you can be self-righteous and say, I'm following basically the Ten Commandments. If you're not a Christian, you're like, I follow the rules. I'm not killing people. I'm not hurting people. I'm not, they say these things, but then they realize like they worship these different things in their life. So they live this life saying that I'm good, I'm good, I'm good, but then you go and worship your phone and whatever's on your phone. And
That,
the secret life you're living that no one knows about, but you on the outside you look like you're spotless.
yep. That, and back to the old back to the Bible verse, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father but through me. And that is, you can follow the Ten Commandments. If you don't know Jesus and you don't accept him as your Lord and Savior, you're not making it to the Father.
Amen, Josh. I really think that hits home hard for me because as much as it sounds like I'm judging other people from what we're talking about, like I'm not judging you. I'm actually calling myself a little bit for all the things that I'm bringing up. That have a little bit of what I'm talking about in me that I had to let go of to become followed, like pick up my cross every day to follow Jesus. That's the biggest difference in me. Where like I stumble and I fall still, but I learn to like repent and just follow Jesus and trust Jesus.
Yeah, I think talking about end times, it can be scary. It can sound judgmental. It can be kind of harsh, but it is reality. If we're in the end times, like I believe, like you believe, that separation is happening. And, sometimes love needs to be tough love. But I hope everyone listening understands everything we say is purely out of love. It's my motivation. The only thing that motivates me right now is to try to bring people to God, to try to spread his word, to try to save you, because I truly do love every person in this world. And I want them to have an opportunity to know Jesus and to be saved for eternity, to live in heaven for eternity. Um, and if that means hurting someone's feelings here and there, then that's what has to be done, because I lose sleep over the thought of people who live nice in this world, who are nice people who think they're doing well for themselves and for everyone else. I lose sleep over the thought of those people not making it to heaven, of having to spend eternity in the brutal, horrible world of hell, and constant agony and pain and suffering. And I don't want that for anyone. I want nothing more than for people to be saved. And we're getting close. We are getting close to not being able to be saved again. So there is an urgency there. And I do truly love each and every one of you. And I want nothing more than for you to have the opportunity to know Jesus and to be saved.
Yeah, and Jesus did warn us that people will reject us for accepting him. So there's going to be rejection that we have to accept, that we're going to have to suffer through that part of it. But like we've mentioned in the video, there's places that are way worse off than we are. So if that's all we get is rejection from friends and family and the people we love rejecting us because of our faith, it could be worse.
Why
So
God had me sell phones in the mall to get used to rejection, Steve.
there's a lot of rejection in that. I remember that. Either way, I think I echo your sentiments about we do love you guys, and like that's the weirdest thing for two dudes to come on here and be like, "We love you guys, we love you," but genuinely, even from us doing our military service, like there's an act of not being selfish, that we were willing to go lay our lives on the line for you, and if our roles as soldiers can influence you and say, "Oh, I support veterans, but I don't support you as Christians," they go hand in hand. At least for me, it does. So I just went to the Marine Corps ball and I had a great time being around other Marines. And lo and behold, there's this young man that sat at my table. I say young man, he's like 30, but I guess I'm getting older because he looked young to me. But he asked if we can all pray over our food. And then he pulled me to the side. He's like, "Can we pray before you leave? I just want to make sure you guys have a good night." And I just felt the Lord through you guys. And like, it's these little moments where Jesus shines through that you're like, there's still good in this world.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I'd like to say goodbye to everybody. Josh, you want to say anything before we go, or just want to say goodbye?
No, I think I've got everything out that I wanted to say.
All right.
But yeah,
We'll see you guys on Wednesday.
That's right.
Please like, share, and subscribe if you're into that kind of thing. If not, we hope that this word got to you. I have a fun episode on Wednesday where we're going to start talking about some of the effects we're seeing from people's mindsets online. And I have some cool videos to show you parallels about where I see this is going. And it might be one of the episodes I make it a little bit longer for some people. I'll make a short version, kind of the condensed version like this.
Okay, cool.
All right. See you on Wednesday, Josh.
All right. See you guys.
Later.